Good morning, Kowhai. It's Tuesday, the 12th of May. Our last week at home, hopefully, for a while. As most of us will be breaking our bubbles next week and coming back to school. Can't wait to see you all. I'm very excited. I have chosen a story called The King's Bubbles. Different kind of bubble, I know. But as I am reading this, I would like you to be thinking about a story or a poem, piece of writing that you could do about your bubble. His Royal Highness Mighty King Bill sat in his bath on top of the hill. Into a circle of suds he blew, which round his breath stretched and grew. Perfect and round, a sigh without sound, a circle of air, simple and spare. Then up on the breeze, aloft and away, "Come back," cried King Bill, "come back here, I say." But silent and glistening, his bubbles weren't listening. Down stomped King Bill to his castle of stone. Bring my adviser," he growled from his throne. "I want my bubbles, I want them back now. So scheme me a scheme and let me know how." His advisers they huddled, they scratched, they muddled, they oohed, they ahed, till at last, hurrahed. "We know what to do," cried his royal insiders. We'll weave you a net with the help of some spiders." Before very long, they produced with much caution a delicate net of gigantic proportion. They cast the net high. King Bill was enraptured, for when it came down, his bubbles were captured. Down they were, dragged to his castle of stone, and into a room full of treasure were thrown. "Now when I want them," laughed mighty King Bill, "I won't waste my breath up here on the hill." And rubbing his hands, King Bill went to bed, with bubbles of treasure afloat in his head. The very next morning he unlocked the door and bounded inside, but oh, what he saw! His bubbles were gone, not a bubble was left. All of those bubbles King Bill was bereft. "I've been robbed," roared King Bill. "I've been burglarized too. Bring my advisers, they'll know what to do." His advisers they quibbled, they argued, they scribbled. They used calculators for lesses and graters. They said, "See that water just there on the floor? We think that your bubbles are no more." King Bill growled a growl from deep in his throat. "Then get me some more and keep them afloat." They rushed to his bidding, they planned it with care. They schemed up a scheme to circulate air. In with the bubbles and most treasured things went 500 butterflies flapping their wings. And yet, the next day when Bill went to play, the 500 butterflies all flew away. And there on the floor were many small puddles. All that was left behind were his beautiful bubbles. He yelled at his people, "Still, young swine, I own this kingdom, all bubbles are mine." His advisers they mumbled, they scuffled, they grumbled. Bubbles, they thought, were hard to keep caught. But rolling their eyes, they blew him some more and built a small pond on the treasure room floor. "We must keep them moist," they grumbled aloud. "Next we will tell us to capture a cloud." "Go!" roared the King Bill as he frowned in displeasure at one little frog perched high on his treasure. His temper was horrid, his mood was irate. His wise folk were starting to fear for their fate. He needs to get out, they agreed in despair. We must get him back to the hill for some air. So they said he had kingdoms he needed to count. We're acquiring a few from the top of the mount. Back on his hill or way up on a high, Grumpy King Bill sighed a very big sigh. Quite out of habit, he blew some more bubbles, and just for a moment forgot all his troubles. Happy and whole, a whisper of soul, a breath, a naught, a blossoming thought. Then up and away and into the blue, King Bill exclaimed as they vanished from view. I like blowing bubbles, and bubbles need light. They shouldn't be shut in a room overnight. And all his advisers, they knew what to do. Clever King Bill, how wise and true. They applauded themselves for his freshened up mood, and almost fell down when he shared out his food. He even let some take a turn with his blower in the sky filled with bubbles, some higher, some lower. They danced all with those bubbles the whole of the day, and all were agreed as they floated away. They agreed as those bubbles rose up into the sun that letting them be was what made them such fun. Here is my example of my bubble writing. In my bubble is me, my husband Kerry, Angus who is 6 and Grace who is 4. We live at 1 Liverpool Street, Solway. Luckily we have a nice big backyard to play in. Millennium Reserve is just down the road, so we have spent a lot of time playing down there and feeding the ducks. Kerry has been working from home, so he shuts himself away in his office for most of the day, and the kids and I hang out and play. Grace has loved learning to bake, and Angus has mastered his flips on the trampoline and exhausted the iPad. We have had our good days and bad days, but mostly we have loved spending time out in the sunshine together. I look forward to reading and hearing your bubble stories. So, thinking about those bubbles floating away, what are some memories that you would like to record as a story, a description, a poem, a song about your bubble during our bubble stays? Send them in with a picture or a photo, and I would actually like to make these into a Ko-Fi bubble book to keep. So send them in. See you next week.